Let's continue our discussion of piecewise functions. We're going to move on to exercise 13. And be sure to note that exercise 12 and 13 are very similar. You can see the statement of them on the screen right now. So think about how they're similar and how they're different as we go through number 13. So here's 13 written on a separate sheet. So we want to sketch a graph of this piecewise function, f of x equals x plus 6 when x is less than or equal to negative 1, and f of x equals x squared when x is greater than negative 1. So in exercise 13, my two pieces that are involved are a piece of y equals x plus 6, which is the same function or same line as in exercise 12, and we're also taking a piece of y equals x squared, which is the same as exercise 12. But what's different here is we're taking the piece of x plus 6 for which x is less than or equal to negative 1, and we're taking the piece of y equals x squared for which x is greater than negative 1. So we're taking different parts of these guys in this one. So let's see, when x is equal to negative 1 on the straight line, I already drew the straight line, by the way, in pencil lightly on this graph grid. We went through that in exercise 12, so I didn't want to go through all those steps again. At negative 1 on the graph of y equals x plus 6, we get the point negative 1, 5. So I'm going to color that in with a darkened circle. And then I want to include the line that extends to the left of that. And maybe I'll just indicate the coordinates of that point. That's negative 1, 5 that I colored in with a dark circle. So we're going to use that portion of the straight line along with a portion of the parabola here. So here's, again, in pencil, I drew in y equals x squared that we're familiar with. But I only want to work with the portion of that greater than negative 1. So certainly this right-hand side. Now I also want the portion between negative 1 and 0. So I'm going to put an open circle at negative 1 and draw the graph to the right of that. So our final answer is going to be the blue piece drawn here and the blue piece here on a common coordinate system. I'm going to have to work with this point with the open circle. Let me just label it. That's negative 1, 1 you're going to see below in a moment. So let me first transfer the straight line. That I want to mark that negative 1, 5 point. Negative 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 point. And that straight line I can draw because I know it has slope. Negative or positive 1 slope. And I think that's negative 6 on the x-axis. So I just recopied the straight line graph onto this grid. And now I want to copy my parabola. 0, 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9, yeah. So I know I have this piece of the parabola, on and on and on. And now between negative 1 and 0, I have to copy this other little piece of the curve along with the open circle at negative 1, 1. So even though that's not a point on the graph, I need to mark that point so that I can draw the portion of the parabola from negative 1 to 0. So this is my final graph of the function for exercise 13. And notice that this truly is in two pieces. The two pieces do not actually touch. The domain of this function, by the way, is still all real numbers. So exercise 13 also has domain all real numbers. But the pieces of the graph are separated at -1. The function at -1 is defined to be where the closed circle is, not where the open circle is. And we'll do the next exercise in a separate video. I guess I just want to write on here f of x equals x plus 6, x less than or equal to -1, x squared, x greater than -1. So we can see that all in just one shot. And of course it's okay to go right to the final graph. You don't have to draw the preliminaries each time unless you find that helpful. It's always okay to do that if you prefer to.